More developments on the reinstatement of Emir Sanusi Muhammadu as he received his letter of appointment as the 16th Emir of Kano. Sanusi returns to Kano and perhaps imminently back to the throne. And we continue to monitor for you the activities of the Tinubu government as it continues to explain to Nigerians the performance of the government in the different sectors over the last 1 year. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. Today, we continue to monitor for you the Kano situation, the reinstatement saga of the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Muhammadu. And now, with what we are seeing, it does look like he's gotten his letter, but it came with some drama too. We understand now that there is a court order stopping the governor from, that's Governor Abba Yusuf, from reinstating Emir Sanusi back to the throne. All of this drama we're going to analyze for you. And of course, the governor had indicated that the judge who gave the order is not in Nigeria, is not on his seat, but he's in the United States, and he's going to report him. These are some of the issues that we shall be dissecting for you. But Sanusi returns to Kano, and it gets our attention tonight. Plus, we are not taking our eyes off the performance of the Tinubu cabinet. Well, everything may be happening that may take your gaze off the performance and the Tinubu government in the saddle for the last 1 year. But we will not take our eyes off. We'll keep our eyes on the performance and what they are saying vis-a-vis the campaign promises of this government. Have they delivered? How will you be able to assess them? We'll be doing all of that for you tonight. So stick around, everyone. We've got a very interesting package for you. But let's begin with some of your political roundup stories.
Vice President Kashim Shettima says the administration of President Bola Tinubu is not planning to impose more taxes on the citizens, but instead is targeting to increase the efficiency of tax collection. He was speaking when he received a delegation from the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria at the presidential villa, during which he solicited the institute's insights on attracting foreign direct investment through competitive company tax rates. The Imo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja has affirmed the election of Senator Hope Uzodimma as the duly elected governor of Imo State. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Oluyemi Akinton Asadibe, the three-man panel of the tribunal held that the election of Mr. Hope Uzodimma complied substantially with the provisions of the Electoral Act. The tribunal further held that the Labour Party in its petition failed to prove the allegation of overvoting and non-compliance to the Electoral Act. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has asked his supporters in the state to remain peaceful and not respond to any intimidation by anyone. Governor Fubara made the call while flagging off the reconstruction of a 5-kilometer Okania-Ogbogoro road in Obiakpo local government area as part of activities to mark his first anniversary in office.
Our style will be to set the standard that will be above them. That when they come, people will say, but what the people are doing, everybody is saying it now, and it is about the people.
And ahead of June 8, 2024 local government election in Yobe State, the state's Chief Judge, Justice Gumna Kashim Kegama, has inaugurated a 27-man election petition and appeal tribunal. Justice Kegama inaugurated the panel at the State High Court complex in Damaturu, the state capital. He notes that the tribunal will hear and determine all matters that may arise from the proposed local government elections and ask members of the tribunal to work hard and do justice to each petition that may be brought before them. Members of the coalition of APC North Central stakeholders have been prevented from protesting at the headquarters of the All Progressives Congress in Abuja as pandemonium erupted when suspected thugs attacked the protesters midway through their protest in front of the party's office. The convener of the coalition, Mohammed Etsu, who addressed a news conference outside the premises of the Secretariat, insists that the position of the national chairman of the party should return to the North Central.
So there are reactions to one of the stories there for you on your political roundup stories. Of course, we've been getting some reactions to the verdict of the tribunal and the Imo State governorship election, which the tribunal had ruled today that Senator Hope Uzodinma is validly elected as the governor of Imo State, and the Labour Party could not substantially prove overvoting and substantial non-compliance to the electoral law. And this is a few minutes ago when Senator Hope Uzodinma was reacting to the tribunal verdict. Take a listen to him.
Very exciting, very interesting. The first time to Almighty God. I think we are all here living witnesses to the fact that Imo State is gradually changing, and the most people got into it, and demonstrated that by the way they voted during the election. There is no such a victory that is not from God. And as long as the victory is from God, the same God will sustain it. So I owe the victory to Almighty God.
All right, there you have it. So let's get into our major story of the day. So today, a former CBN governor, an economist, and the dethroned Emir of Kano is back in the ancient city of Kano, imminently ready to reascend to the throne. Sanusi Muhammad today received his letter of appointment as the 16th Emir of Kano, barely a day after he was reinstated by Governor Abba Yusuf. He received the letter at the government house in Kano today at an event attended by top government officials, traditional rulers, kingmakers, and other dignitaries. His reinstatement is coming 4 years after the immediate past governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje, dethroned him. However, Governor Yusuf signed the Kano State Emirate Council Repeal Bill 2024 into law, and Sanusi was reinstated. There you have it there. The reinstatement and the atmosphere there at the government house in Kano earlier today. But it does look like a lot of things will be happening. But let's tell you that there was a court in Kano yesterday that issued a court order, an ex parte order, stopping Governor Abba Yusuf from reinstating Sanusi Muhammadu from re-extending the throne of the Emir of Kano. We'll be giving you insight into all of this, but let's also tell you that we're still following for you the ministerial briefings and the sectorial analyses and scorecard reporting by the ministers in President Bola Tinubu's cabinet. Today, they continued that exercise here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Let me allow you to listen to some of the ministers who spoke and gave account of their stewardship.
We signed an acceleration agreement to continue on the Presidential Power Initiative, which we all know as the Siemens contract that was started in 2019. And we have almost completed the pilot stage of this. What has this done to us? The pilot stage has added additional evacuation capacity of 280 megawatts, an additional 183 megawatts to be commissioned by the end of June 2024. I think Mr. President needs to be applauded for this. By summoning the courage to continue with this project, which I am convinced will change the face of the power sector. Now we are moving to the phase 1, which involves the rehabilitation of 15 brownfield substations and construction of new 22 greenfield substations. This is a total of 37 substations across the country. Once we complete this, sincerely, the sector will not remain the same again.
We have planned and commenced the actualization of the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates Development Program, which you quite well know that Mr. President launched early this year. He launched the Renewed Hope Estate and Cities program, and he did a groundbreaking on the same day of 3,112 housing units for a start. So under phase 1, we plan to deliver a total of 20,000 housing units across the Nigeria, with both budgetary allocation of the 20,000 housing units and 30,000 additional under the PPP, public-private partnerships.
The ministry has resumed trial of terrorism cases in conjunction with the Legal Aid Council, National Human Rights Commission, and other critical stakeholders. The percentage of terrorism cases initiated and corruption cases concluded within the reporting period has been significant. Facilitating international cooperation on terrorism, international cooperation on terrorism financing and other transnational crime. I wish to report that the mandate extends to matters relating to finance, cybercrime, anti-corruption, laundering, terrorism, and genocide and complex cases. The following are our achievements in these areas.
Over the last 9 months, in 33 federal tertiary hospitals, 4.5 million Nigerians were able to access outpatient services, and 1.6 million Nigerians had inpatient admissions in those 33 facilities. So if you extrapolate for the 72 facilities, we can logically expect about 7 to 8 million Nigerians who are ill, who sought services from federal facilities, and about 2.5 million Nigerians who have gotten inpatient admission in our facilities.
I'm pleased to announce that the Ministry of Police Affairs has made significant progress in enhancing security and welfare of all Nigerians over the past year. However, our efforts continue, and we are dedicated to further improving the effectiveness and accountability of our law enforcement agencies in serving the nation.
All right, there you have it. You've gotten an idea of what it's being today in terms of your major stories. Let's put our teeth on there and bite it and see how we can make sense out of all of this. I'm being joined by a political analyst, a social commentator, Mr. Majid Dahiru. He joins us live here in Abuja. So it's good to see you. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's begin in Kano. How interesting is the scenario playing out in the city for you?
It's very interesting as well as intriguing. So if you ask me, I would say politics brought in Sanusi Lamido as Emir in 2014. Politics took him out in 2020. And politics has returned him back again as Emir in 2024. So it's all politics.
Fundamentally.
Fundamentally, it's politics.
And perhaps what we are saying is that he's probably not even in the middle of the politics. The politics is being played in and around him. And the main actor, because we had this conversation yesterday, and there are accusing fingers being pointed that he may just be maybe a king, a queen, a pawn in the chessboard, and this is being played in and around him by political actors. But what does this portend for the throne, for example?
It definitely demystifies it. It diminishes it. So it simply tells you that in a matter of days, as was in this case, in a matter of just about 3 days, an emirate that was created, 5 emirates that were created, we are reconstituted into one, and all 5 emirs were all dethroned technically, and another emir was reappointed. So, I mean, it removes that aura, that mystique around such a preeminent traditional institution that has endured the test of time for several centuries. And it's unfortunate that politicians somehow do not know how to draw the limits when it comes to the use of their powers. And that's what we've seen. Again, in 2014, if you remember, maybe Sanusi Lamido Sanusi wasn't the most suitable candidate to be Emir of Kano.
There was a lot of controversy then.
Exactly.
About the choice and
yes.
who is the most fit or the most suitable for the throne at the time.
But the political leaders of the state also played politics by his appointment. They wanted to use that to get back at former President Goodluck Jonathan, who was having a running battle with Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who was just being suspended as CBN governor. And that was essentially the reason why he was brought in. He became a figure that they could use to impugn on the sensibilities, the political sensibilities of the central government at the time. And when he outlived his usefulness, and when he became, that consistent Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, that is an activist essentially, who does not have that demeanor, that character that is expected of the occupant of a conservative stool like that of the Emirate of Kano. He also became a problem for them because he was simply being his consistent self. When he criticized the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, he wasn't doing it because he wanted to be an APC member. It was just his artist. That was just him being himself.
That is the usual, the normal Sanusi in his character.
That's restless intellectual who is like a rebel with a cause. And so some other people thought, okay, we could use him to advance our political interest. But he defied that impression they had of him because he continued along that trajectory. So as an emir, he refused to just be seen and not heard. And so he was heard loudly, speaking against all forms of social ills, retrogressive traditions and cultural practices, and as well as bad governance, something that was not very usual with emirs in such a conservative region. And so he ran into trouble quickly with his own home state government. And one thing led to the other, he had to be removed. But when he was removed again, he also became a symbol of resistance because it was believed that his punishment for being vocal was because he opposed the government of Umar Ganduje. And so the opposition, the party led by Kwankwaso, rallied around him and also made the campaign promise out of their effort to become governor in the last election by saying we're going to return him and reconstitute the 5 emirates into one. And so again, they won and they have brought him back. I mean, the governor said declared that it was a campaign promise I've just fulfilled.
I mean, you see how he was banished to Nasarawa State,
yes,
and how there are court issues on whether or not he should go to Awe. In Nasarawa State, eventually he got his freedom and is able to move around the way he should have been. It was some kind of humiliation, a lot of people would think, for a very vocal and a restless scholar like you referred to him. But I remember, and I like our viewers to go to our YouTube page and go to my interview on Politics Today with the then governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, who said, look, the throne is a conservative throne. And as such, in fact, the way he described to me in that interview is that there is a sort of a gag, a political and a public gag for anyone who ascends to that throne, to the extent that he said, look, even you see the veil upon the in the mouth
is
of the emir is symbolic, and according to the governor, it's supposed to be a sort of a gag, a sort of a stop. I mean, in some way, but he says that Madam Sanusi Lamido had gone beyond the symbolic gag that throne has given him. But now that he's back, and we've seen him speaking up, even as a CBN governor, against institutions, against the establishment. Outside of office, he's been very vocal, and he said it several times. He's one of those who said the North was in trouble because of out-of-school children and poverty. But if you look at it right now, what kind of future does this portend for the traditional institution in Nigeria? So it does look like every 4 years now, there is some kind of usurpation or the dethronement happening in one of Kano is probably the third most influential,
one of the most revered,
absolutely,
and one of the most influential,
absolutely,
traditional institutions.
And for our viewers to know that Kano Emirate is not only an administrative throne, it's also a spiritual throne. It has its own traditional leadership quality that it has. So in some ways, it's very, very influential.
It is very influential, politically, traditionally, and spiritually as well. Being one of the largest emirates in northern Nigeria. As to the future of the throne, one thing is clear. While it is true that it is a conservative throne, it's a conservative institution that is a part and parcel of the ruling establishment in northern Nigeria, as at the time that the emir became emir in 2014, the northern region was in such a trouble, culturally, traditionally, economically, politically, and even religiously, that the influential rulers of the north could no longer sit idly by and allow things to degenerate. And so that was why, yes, a lot of us had also thought that emirs are not supposed to speak out in the manner Sanusi was speaking. But let it be pointed out that his statements, his public intervention, were largely apolitical and non-partisan. They were straight to the issues, core issues. And he was very careful by not aligning himself with any political party, at least openly. And so one would have thought that the political leadership of the North, those that are running the democratic arm of the leadership of the North, would have seen Sanusi as something of a Moses out of the household of Pharaoh that was trying to engineer change from within and to lead this change by saying, look, we no longer give stamp of authority, of religious authority, of traditional authority to certain cultural practices that has held down this region for as long as you can remember. He was always lamenting the fact that northern Nigeria seems to be the poorest region in the world, ranking the lowest on all known indices of human development. That was something of concern. And when you have a region in such a trouble, as has been manifesting through the intractable or seemingly intractable Boko Haram insurgency, the problem of out-of-school children, disease and all such, negative development indices, one would not entirely fault Emir Sanusi, and for that matter, any other traditional ruler that is influential enough to add their voice to some level of cultural revolution and should also lead by example. So I had thought that Ganduje should have taken Sanusi's intervention then as a form of open advice to do the right thing. And when he failed to heed some of the critical, pieces of advice that the monarch was giving out, and he became, adversarial towards him, it was as though he was doubling down on some of the shortcomings of his administration. And when you have a governor who had that extra baggage of being seen on tape, seemingly accepting what looked like bribes from a contractor working on some projects in the state under his administration, that put a dent on him. So, and when he decided to move against Sanusi, I think Sanusi enjoyed so much of public sympathy and empathy, such that the actions of Ganduje in splitting the emirate into 5 and dethroning Sanusi eventually, they did enjoy the level of legitimacy that they would have wanted it to enjoy. And that is why today you might observe that it will look as though many people in Kano, I don't know whether they're in the majority, actually welcome this change. Because it was believed that the splitting of that emirate into 5 was born out of malice. It was not out of any altruistic reason to extend developments to every part of the, old Kano Emirate. And so what has happened today enjoys some level of legitimacy and acceptance on the part of the people. In any case, the ruling party in the state has said it was a campaign promise, and we voted into power on that basis, and we have just fulfilled it.
Yeah, a court order coming from Justice Lehman's court, which the court order is basically an ex parte order preventing Governor Abba Yusuf from reinstating Emir Muhammad Sanusi II back onto the throne. A federal high court, that is the jurisdiction of that court, and he altered also the implementation of a new law that abolished the 4 emirates of Bichi, Gaya, Karaya, and Rano. And the governor has been reacting to say, look, that order was granted by Justice Lima. And according to him, he said Justice Lima is in the United States.
So at the time the
order was issued.
And so he was going to report him to the appropriate authorities, meaning that he has disregarded that order, and he has gone ahead to issue the letter of reappointment to Emir Sanusi as the 16th Emir of Kano. And as we speak now, the Emir of Kano today is Muhammad Sanusi II, and is the Emir of One United Kano. And the order emanating from that High Court appears to be of no effect as we speak.
What's the implication of that?
Well, I'm sure those who went to court to get this order will have to probably go back to the same court to report them as well, to report the governor to the judge to say, well, he's going to report you to somebody else. And so what do you have to do about that? So it's going to be a long run battle in the illegal arena.
If the governor is challenging the legitimacy of the court,
yes,
in the sense that he says the judge needs to now prove that he was actually...
Exactly. So it's going to be a long-drawn legal battle that will even have administrative dimension.
This is actually getting interesting, isn't it?
It's getting interesting.
Yeah, and there are those who believe that this is a battle between Ganduje and Kwankwaso.
Yes.
Fundamentally. And this was a former governor and a former deputy governor who were together for 8 years.
For 8 years. Even long before then. They've been associates.
And you imagine what could have happened is a tussle, and we do know the politics of Kano and how important, if you want to win Nigeria, you must be able to convince the voters in Kano.
Well, the problem is this. Even without being vocal, as was alleged, Emir Sanusi or any other emir would have been in trouble with any governor of Kano who feels is either too influential and not kowtowing enough to his authority. I mean, the former emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero, had a running battle as well with Kwankwaso, but it was managed because, of course, you're talking about an elderly statesman as an emir who had wisdom of time and experience. And so it was managed, well managed. After all, even in the Second Republic, the former governor of Kano, Alhaji Abubakar Aribi, also had the same issues with Ado Bayero, who wasn't even vocal, who was barely heard, and was just seen as a flamboyant, symbol of the glorious past of a 1,000-year-old ruling dynasty. They had issues, which also led to the balkanization of his Emirate Council area and some other punitive measures as well. And there were indications that if Abubakar Arimi had returned as second-term governor, probably would have given Ado Bayero the treatment that Ganduje had given to Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi. I think our governors, Nigerian governors, increasingly have become like lion kings. They're very territorial. They do not want rivalries at all, either from their predecessors, powerful traditional rulers, or even powerful individuals.
Or even dissension.
Any form of dissension at all. They are like autocrats, democratic autocrats that do not want anybody or anything or any entity at all to challenge their authority. And that is something we need to address as a people. Our democracy is not liberal enough. And you cannot have lion kings, quote and unquote, ruling us, because we're not in the animal jungle. We had this kind of impunity happens. I mean, you dethrone an emir, create 5 emirates, and that one comes, consolidates all of them, throw all of them away. In 48 hours, they must leave the palaces. And you have re-enthroned the former dethroned emir. This does not happen in the community of human beings.
I wish I could take you into the assessments of the Tinubu government, but we are totally out of time. Thank you so much. Majid Dahiru, a political analyst. Well, you've just put your teeth biting so hard on this issue of the Kano Emirate leadership. But thank you so much for the insight you have shared. I appreciate the time so much. We take a break, everyone, but when we return, there's so much more happening in the land. For those of you who are wondering, why does Nigerian lawmakers want to change the national anthem? Well, a former lawmaker will be joining me. I'll be dissecting some of the state of the nation issues right here. We'll be right back, everyone.
There's a lot of fear in the journey towards building wealth, especially in an ever-changing economy like ours. And you know why that is? It's because navigating the world of investments without facts and insights is like walking in the dark. But that fear stops now. Opportunities open up to you when you have a trusted guide. Someone with over 28 years of experience advising individuals, corporates, and governments to achieve their dreams through strategic and well-timed investments. That someone is AfriInvest. The journey of 1,000 miles is easier when you have a trusted guide and partner who knows the way. So, take the first step. AfriInvest, simplifying investments, creating wealth.
Hello, my name is Linda Osifo, and I am excited to announce the biggest news to you. The Middle East Investors Expo is coming to Abuja, and yes, you are invited. An opportunity of a lifetime for entrepreneurs seeking funding for their projects and businesses. Middle East Investors Expo will be the most magical 2 days of your life. It's a real-life gathering of global assets managers, including private equity and venture capital organizations with over 2 trillion wealth to connect with local businesses, entrepreneurs, and small to medium enterprises. This exclusive event is built to facilitate a one-to-one meeting and meaningful interactions, fostering partnerships and investment opportunities. 50 speakers and investors gathering in Abuja. Get your tickets and exhibition space today.
The Federal Ministry of Works warmly welcomes the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to the official commissioning of the reconstructed Apapa-Owerri-Shoki Expressway, the newly rehabilitated 3rd Mainland Bridge, the official flag-off ceremony of the construction of the 700 kilometers Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the virtual flag-off of design and procurement of the 1,000 kilometers Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway, and 461 kilometers of Africa Trans-Sahara route to Abuja, the virtual flag-off of the reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads and bridges nationwide, and the ongoing emergency interventions of 330 roads and bridges across the 6 geopolitical zones of the nation, coming up on the 26th of May, 2024. Once more, welcome, Mr. President. Announcer, Senator Engineer Nweze David Umahi, FNHC, FNATE, CON, Honorable Minister of Works.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Being joined now by Honorable Dachong Bagos, who's a former lawmaker from Plateau State. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, before we get into some other issues I invited you to talk about, your friends in the National Assembly, in fact, it's past second reading from what I gathered, the motion to revert the nation back to the old version of the national anthem. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, maybe because they have tried to change a lot of things and they flow through motions. If they change this one, it might likely work. And again, looking at the lyrics, if I look at the last stanza of the old national anthem, that, oh God, grant our request so that no one will be oppressed. And if that's one of the reasons, we have so much been oppressed in the country. And in the National Assembly, since I was there, we have passed motions upon motions. So maybe are we talking about national reorientation? Is changing the national anthem give us room to change that national reorientation? But to me, I will still stand with Arise, O Compatriots, because when all of us rise as patriotic Nigerians, I will be able to have that. So that's the kind of national reorientation I think we should be looking up to. But changing national anthem at this particular moment, is that really what Nigerians are yearning for? Yeah, so.
So you imagine maybe your colleagues are not they are not in tune with the plight of the average Nigerian, because, I mean, I've heard a lot of reaction and people are wondering, is like you mentioned, is that what we really need at the time?
At this particular moment, Sheon, to be sincere, that's not what we really need at the time. Because if I want to analyze the new national anthem, like I've said, Arise, O Compatriots, let what our heroes pass, let it not go in vain. So have we really looked at Nigeria as a country, to really looked at where did we get it wrong? Today, we are talking about the inflation rate in terms of food insecurity. We are talking about insecurity itself. We are talking about Nigerians can't go to farm to get their land tilled. Nigerians can't get quality education, can't get good health, can't get. So these are issues for me that should be on the front burner of discussion. Because the National Assembly is a very sacred and important place that Nigerians should see us taking important issues very seriously. Yeah, but it's not just about motion. Whosoever that have brought that to the front burner has his own reasons. But what is our priority as a people? Because if some of us were there, I saw some of my colleagues argued against it as well. That look,
in the House of Reps, there were more dissension.
Yeah,
Senate looks like it was, and the leaders, both Professor Nyovere and the Senate leader, were the ones who moved those motions on the floor. But again, one of the arguments is that the military gave us that national and the initial one. And you look at it.
You see, whenever we talk about what the military has given us, be it the Constitution, be it whatsoever, have we even used it, maximized the importance of what has been? Have we exhausted whatsoever the military, in quote, has given Nigerians? In as much as we are talking about restructuring, have we been able to look at areas that we really need to restructure our country? So we shouldn't look at our failure and blame it on someone that is a military. So it is when we have now practicalized each and every aspect of what the military handed over to us as a people, not as a country. Because as a country, it's talking about who is the leader, but as a people, we're talking about who we are as Nigerians.
Yeah.
So when we now analyze all these issues and we now see that it's no longer workable, that is when we now start talking about, because we still go, because if we want to even, if we want to further interrogate the issues that the military has handed over to Nigerians, the military handed over democracy. Are we now saying that the democracy working in Nigeria is what is practically working to Nigerians? Are we now saying that what kind of even democracy are we practicing? Is it presidential or parliamentary? What are we practicing as a people? So a lot of interrogation and discussion needs to come into play if we want to look at how truly we want to restructure Nigeria.
I don't know. In my own generation, in primary school and in secondary school, and I mean, largely it was in the military era that I had my primary and secondary education. And what was the practice, what I grew up to know, or what in my schools then, where we used to drum and we would queue up and line up in some of the most orderly manner, class by class, right in the assembly ground, open field, and there will be drums, and we will march, we will sing the national anthem, we will recite the national pledge, and which were some of those things people thought that these were military traits that were being instituted. And there are those who will tell you that, in fact, under the Buhari regime, and that was when I was in primary school, and those who will tell you that, look, you will have to forcefully be in line, even in public places, even to get some public orderliness and all what have you. And there are those who will imagine, those are some of the learning history eroded. There's some values eroded. There's some things that the military actually gave us, but there were values to us that we have lost. And imagine if it's one of the things that the National Assembly want to bring back. I don't know the primary and the purpose, but the debate went on and on. But like you said, is this the most important thing?
Yeah, well, because whatsoever we want to discuss at the front burner now, that is it truly the most important thing? Because to the ordinary Nigerians, what are you talking about? Have I eaten today? I can tell you, a lot of people, there are people, today it's raining, there are people still under the rain in bus stops as of this moment, waiting for one of the cheapest means of transportation, even if it is a pickup van with the rain that will just take them to their own destination. So as leaders and as politicians, we really need to look at issues very, very in-depth. That look, what is truly that need Nigerians? Have we really given Nigerians what we have promised them during the election? Since 1960, to return to democracy, the promise have been good road, has been water, has been health, has been education. Have the promise changed to a certain level in other spaces of the world? Are we now talking about improve? So I'm not, as a people and as politicians, our campaign promises should we should start talking about improve health care system, improve this, because we have already given them. But we are still talking that, we are still promising Nigerians that we will give them. Instead of talking of improve, then people are talking of technology. People are talking of how they'll be able to do things at a certain level that within the twinkle of an eye, you should be able to get. But we have so much been working on promises and borrowed policies. Those are some of the arguments and some of the issues that we have in time past so much argued on the National Assembly on the front burner. And I believe that what is a review that the present administration supposed to start looking at this particular moment. 1 year in office. How have Nigerians been faring?
And I'd like to take you there. Yeah. You were sitting in the green room and you listened to some of the ministers and the power minister, for example, the health minister, and what came to your mind when listening to them about the performance of this government?
Well, Sheun, what came to my mind is that all that have been said, or all what they said, has it translated to reality to the common Nigerian? Because if so much of policy statements, so much of we have done this, have ordinary Nigerian today can boast of getting the required drugs that is needed in the hospital? Can an ordinary Nigerian, even with the band A to band E or Z, can we now boast that we have improved electricity? Can we boast that security have and is now assured we have been able to address the issues of insecurity? Can we now say, so out of all the ministerial briefing, Sheun, what Nigerians can see, and I'm sure if you go to the streets of Abuja today, the only thing that Nigerians might be able to tell you is that, well, we can see Wike fixing some of the roads in Abuja, because they can see that. They can feel, they can drive on those roads. But when you are now talking about insecurity, you have been able to address the issue of insecurity. Once it's 5 o'clock, everybody is running down to his houses. Just a few weeks ago, people were kidnapped in Kubwa on daily basis. Today, you cannot go to the market with 50,000 and now say that you could be able to get food items for your household for 1 week, even 3 days. Today, Labour and TUC are arguing with government about minimum wage. So if you want to translate reality or what you have said into reality, what has been the impact? Because if I want to stand with NLC today and TUC, I would say that the minimum wage should be at least 200,000. Because today, if you have 200,000, at least to some certain level, you should be able to have. So from the 500 NLC is talking about, and from the 50-something thousand government is talking about, let's meet at the middle. At least with 200,000, you should be able to meet up something. And again, the social security incentives that government is talking about. Today, we don't have fuel subsidy, as alleged. Today, you are now talking about you're giving 20,000 or 8,000 to Nigerians that we can't really identify where is the social security register we have as a people, where is the database that we are using that. Averagely, to me, I expect that if we are collapsing fuel subsidy, if we are collapsing, if we now collapse what humanitarian is giving to the 20,000 or what, collapse all those monies, pay the average worker what is due. I can tell you, if the average Nigerian, the average worker in Nigeria can be able to go to the market to afford foodstuffs, all of us will have, because every civil servant, one civil servant, over 10 to 20 people depend on one person. So don't just look at one civil servant. He has a family of 5. He has dependents with the Nigerian culture. He has to send money to his parents at home. He has to pay school fees. He has to do this and that and so on and so forth. So the dependence on one Nigerian civil servant, and you now want to quantify him to just one certain amount of money you are seeing on paper, then the level of inflation will continue to go high.
Honorable, let's go on a break. I mean, hearing Minister Adelabu, the Minister of Power, saying that there is a comfortable push of about 5,000 megawatts of electricity, and they're working to ramp up to about 6,000 and in transmission. And when we wonder, okay, how much, well, I'd like to get your reaction, but let's go on another break. And when we come back, more on the Tinubu 1 year in office. How have you been able to assess? You heard some of the ministers. We'll break it down for you. A few of them who've spoken today and what they said they've done.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of the family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
Sweet day like beans and rice. And oh people, I will never leave your side. I will never ever. I dedicate my time forever. Time to you, my people. Even if the road is rough, I know mine. 'Cause together we shall stand.
Make we all come out on election day and vote Olumide Osaigbavo Akpata, una guy as governor of Edo State. He ready to change our story and bring better life for we and our pikin them. Vote Labour Party, the party for Papa, Mama and pikin. Make we vote well, oh. Oluji, confirm. Now you be our guy. Labour Party, forward ever.
Olumide Akpata.
Now all of us like to chop better food. Food where they make body tranga and vegetables where fresh like say tomorrow not day. We want make the chocolate sweet the way we go like them. No cubes. Now be the secret. They make them with correct ingredients like chicken, parsley, garlic, plenty iron corn full and palm to make your chocolate palm bar for you. Come the sweet well. Now be the cocoa. Make we carry salute, throw away give no.
Change your world by changing waiting day your plate.
Do you know that you can now print all your essential items for events without even having to leave your home? It's the Print Combo Deal for all events.
Yes!
Weddings, conferences, birthdays, burials, etc. Starting from 495,000 Naira only. You get 50 invites, 50 A2 size posters, 50 16-page brochures, 1 large backdrop banner, 1 roll-up banner, 50 jotters with pens, and 50 souvenir carrier bags. Whatever event you're planning, we can adjust to your budget and quantities. Just send your pictures and other information through WhatsApp, and we shall send a design for your approval. Approve your design, and we will produce with super high-quality digital print technology. We can even arrange delivery to your location. Call us now on 0913-156-5016 or 0812-794-9323 or visit our social media pages. Prints, digital printing at super speed.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to looking at what the Tinubu government has done in the last 1 year and what they say they have done, because there are two things. There are two things between what you say you have done and what you have really done. So you hear Minister Adelabu talking about 6,000 megawatts from the 4,000 before the end of 2024, and that's what they met on the ground. And they said they are actually quickly ramping up. At the moment, he said Nigeria is generating about 5,000 megawatts. But what is more important is accessibility, affordability, and also the consistency of the production of that power?
That's you said it all, Sheun, that accessibility and affordability. Whatsoever English we say today, can Nigerians really get these things? And we all know that the technical part of electricity, because of the hydro aspect and the gas aspect of getting electricity in Nigeria, a layman knows that during rainy season, you get electricity. When it is after the rainy season, the water level goes down and electricity becomes very scarce. So we're looking at these are, and you check the promises of government that it is only during rainy season that they promise Nigerians electricity.
So in terms of power, Honorable, how would you rate this government? Have they delivered?
Absolutely. Absolutely no government have been able to deliver in terms of power. So they can't even take the credit now because we have not yet seen. See, when you want to talk about delivering, it's not just about the availability now, but the sustainability. Have we been able to look at, go down to the north where you have a high level of sunshine? What has government been able to do to instead of hydro or gas, you'll be able to use the sun within the north to be able to generate more electricity? What have you been able to go to areas that are windy to be able to generate electricity? So we're still straight jacket in generating electricity in this country. The only thing that I will be able to say that, look, now that states, the National Assembly have been able to remove electricity from the exclusive list, now that states can't generate electricity, it's now down to states to look at how can they be able to generate and distribute electricity at the same time. But if we're going to wait to look at how to continue to maintain the same narratives, first of all, what government is using to even generate electricity is obsolete. Like for how many, most of the equipment in some of the hydro stations or some of the obsolete equipment, and they don't even have the capacity to push to that level. So whatsoever substation they are trying to put in different levels, these are technical things that we'll be able to know. But to promise us electricity during rainy season, we'll wait and see what will happen during the dry season when hydro has gone down, and when we're even talking about Niger, where they're supposed to be the center of electricity, they lack electricity, and most of those places are being threatened by bandits. So these are issues that government really needs to come out clear to discuss most of these issues.
Let's wrap up in 1 minute, if we may. Holistically, if you look at this government, and look, I'm of the strong view that either we like it or not, this Tinubu government must succeed. And you know what? And I don't care which political party anyone who comes in the government comes from. The fact remains that there is one fundamental thing. It's the interest of the Nigerian people.
Absolutely.
And interest of the nation. In the next 4 years, President Tinubu is president of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And we will pray that he succeed. But how they have gone in the last 1 year, do you think that we are on the right path?
We must, the president and his team needs to understand one thing. That first of all, he's a president now. And secondly, it's not about who voted him into power. Now is the generality of Nigerians. And I've once said that, look, the APC administration had about 8 million votes. Then you have PDP with about 7 million votes, with Labour Party with almost about another 7 million. So put the votes of the opposition, which is running up to 14 million, against 8 million, which was the vote, that should be the major concern of the president the next 4 years. That how can I be able to combine the effort, combine these two votes and with the generality of Nigerians to be able to give dividends of democracy. It's not just about the APC administration. And again, going further, that look, where have we been able to do good on? Like for me, if I want to rate some of the ministers, I now know that, okay, I can see what the Minister of FCT is doing. It's not just because that he's PDP. I can see what the Minister of Interior is doing, that Nigerians now can get passport, I was joking with one of my friends, or when maybe they want to make Nigerians get passport fast and japa more and leave us back.
All right.
But again, the discussion, the further discussion is that it shouldn't be theoretical, it should be practical.
Right.
What are Nigerians yearning for? Let Nigerians see food on the table. It's not just about stomach infrastructure, but let all of us have the dividends of democracy across board.
Thank you so much. Honorable Dachong Bagos is a former member of the House of Reps. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate your thought. But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. I'll see you on Sunday, 8 p.m. God bless Nigeria.
As the president marks 1 year in office, the question is, how has this administration fared?
To be honest, it has been a very tough journey the last 1 year. I think a lot more will need to be done in terms of infrastructure, power, and everything that makes a country worthwhile to invest in.
One, we need to train more doctors, so even if we're hemorrhaging some to other countries, we don't suffer too much. And also we need to be able to attract those that have spent a lot of time there, learned what they want to learn, but are dying now to come back and use some of those skills here. We've got to be able to attract them back here.
I want the government to fund public schools by increasing more security personnel and place security personnel outside school gates.
The only way you can bring a currency in alignment with its fair value is to address the fundamental issues that are attacking that currency. Let's not run away from the fact that this currency is now an embattled currency. Allow things settle down, and the true value of the currency will emerge.